Okay, welcome back to the Are You Strong show. I am jacked up. I have another Rutgers athlete on the show today. And wait to hear this guy's accolades. And I can't wait to get into his diet. But, you know, this young man's from Colonia, New Jersey, wrestled in high school, 164 wins. Now, I don't know where that falls in the record books, but to me, that's a lot of wins, right? 2020 state champ, and this is even more impressive, 40-0 record senior year in high school. That's pretty sick. Three-time state medalist, four-time district champ, three-time regional champ, freshman All-American at Rutgers wrestling. I don't think you find too many of those, but here's what's really cool. This is what I really love about this guy. All academic Big Ten four times. You know, when you hear an athlete that has an academic background, you put those two together, you have nothing but success. Academic All-American two times, three-time NCAA qualifier, two-time Big Ten place winner, and Big Ten bronze medalist. Welcome to the show, John Poznanski.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Excited to
You
be on.
know, and like I was saying before we hit the button to go live is when I looked up your accolades, I'm like, there's like this laundry list of stuff of the things that you've accomplished from your high school through college, which are just it's just like an endless list. And I
Y-
was trying to just how do I pick all these highlights and put it into one, you know?
Yeah, it was it's been a good career. I'll definitely say that throughout high school and college.
I'm
Had a
sure it
really good
was.
career. Yep.
So John, I got a ton of questions to ask you, but before I get into that, why don't you just tell the audience just a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I grew up in Colonia, New Jersey, went to Colonia High School, wrestled at Rutgers. Now I have a full-time job with the company I interned for, Sandblast Solutions. Um, I wrestled all through, college, high school. I did jiu-jitsu growing up, a little bit of judo as well. Um, what else? What else? I like to play golf here and there too.
Don't forget your
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah. And I have a podcast too called The Destination Talk. That's we're on episode 16 now, and it's slowly growing. So it's another fun thing I like to do.
So what's the theme of the podcast?
So the theme, so we got the name actually was from Destination Dog in New Brunswick. It's like a hot dog place me and my
Yep.
co-host like to go to. But we wanted to talk to athletes, coaches, anyone, business people. How do they get to their destination? What their journey was like, and talk about how they got there, what their
Yeah.
journey was like, and what got them to that destination. So that's kind of the framework behind our podcast.
That's so cool. That's a lot about what we're going to talk about tonight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of similar.
Yeah, a lot of synergies. So we're going to bounce around, right?
Yep.
I'm going to ask you questions about all over the map, right? And but what I always like to start with, and I wonder if my listeners are getting tired of this, that I keep opening with the same question, but I can't help it, right? It's wrestling at Rutgers. It doesn't get any bigger. Okay, you can wrestle at Penn State. I get it, right? But you're wrestling against Penn State. You wrestle against Nebraska. You wrestle
Mhm.
against Iowa. You're in the biggest wrestling conference in the country. Is that
Mhm.
true?
Yeah, the Big Ten Conference is the
It's the
best
best.
conference.
It's
Yeah,
the elite of
100%.
the elite.
Yes.
But when did you know you had that type of ability that you were special to wrestle at that level? Was it third grade, 10th grade? Was it all of a sudden my senior year, you became this phenom, like every now and again you catch a guy like that? When did you know?
I would definitely say my senior year of high school, like going into my senior year. So the summer going into senior of high school, I was working out at the RTC, New Jersey RTC, with guys like CJ Brookie and Nate Jackson and all the Rutgers guys, that were on the team before I was even there. And I was going in there and I was getting beaten up here and there, but I was able to hold my own. And then once I got into college, and I was going to redshirt my freshman year originally, and after talking with the coaches and kind of just getting better,
Yeah.
um I was like, oh, I could win here, and I could compete and beat these guys.
Yeah.
So I went out there, and the rest is history. So I think probably the summer going into my senior year of high school, I really turned that corner.
But I gotta ask this crazy question then. Like, what took so long? Because you were 40-0 as a senior. Like, you had to know something before then that you were that
Yeah,
good.
my seventh, eighth grade year, I wrestled at a club called Yale Street Wrestling Club, and I actually help coach there now as well.
Okay.
Um, I really turned the corner to like actually know what I was doing a little bit in wrestling my freshman year of high school.
Okay.
All through middle school, like I kind of knew what I was doing, but freshman year of high school is really when I started to focus in at wrestling more and kind of turn the corner more.
Okay. Well, I see the golf clubs in the background there. Have you retired to
Yeah.
golf now?
I gotta work on my golf game. I gotta break 90 and then until I can call
90.
myself a golfer.
I mean, I gave it up. I gave it up. I stopped playing like 15 years ago. My best score ever was 103.
My
That's
best score was 94. 94 is my
that's
best.
pretty good. You could break 100. That's pretty good.
Yeah, some days I might not though. Some days I might be 105, so we never know where it's gonna
That's
end up.
okay as long as you're having fun. But you got a good set of clubs. That's good.
Yeah, PXGs, the good clubs.
So let me ask you this. I asked the wrestlers this question,
hmm
and when you were wrestling, did you cut weight all the time, or you were the kind of guy that when you were right on the cusp, you didn't have to lose much?
So during high school, I never cut weight really at all. My parents
Yep.
never really let me cut weight. I would say my senior year, maybe a little bit. Like maybe I was walking around at like 193, 194 and cut down to 182, 184 after they give you that 2 pound allowance in high school. But then I would say my freshman year, sophomore year of college, when I was making 184, I cut a little bit of weight there. I was cutting from about 200 down to 84. And then that was another reason why I went up to 197 later in my college career, because making 84 and holding it from October to March is a very long
Yeah.
time. So
Yeah.
that was the reason why I went up to, even when I was at 97, I was cutting down from like 220, 215. So
Like, when I get hungry, man, I'm miserable. So how do you young guys handle that? Because at your stage of your life, your body's burning 24 hours a day.
yeah,
How the heck do you spend all that time in the classroom, in the weight room, in the training room, wrestling, and you could be starving yourself at the same time? How do you mentally handle that?
I wouldn't say we're starving ourselves the whole time, but some guys will cut weight differently than others. For me, I made it my life pretty much. I would work out early in the morning at 7 a.m. or 6 a.m. and do the morning cardio before school or before practice. And I would eat 6 times a day. And while I was eating 6 times a day, I was losing weight as I was doing it. So I was on a really strict plan and from a diet perspective, from a working out perspective. I would work out 3 times a day sometimes. So depending on what time of year it was, I would make sure my body was in the right spot. So when I did have to touch weight, my body
Okay.
was good to go.
So your diet itself is your consistent diet kept the weight off with the exercise.
Correct. Yeah, like morning cardio, having a consistent diet plan, and starting early enough. Like I would start my weight cut September 1st. We wouldn't have our first weigh in until November 1st,
Yeah.
So I started a couple months in advance. So during preseason, and I set myself up so I was able to be ready at that
Yeah.
time.
That takes a lot of discipline and willpower, man.
Yeah, yeah. And then once the season's over, then you can have, a slice of pizza or something like that, and then it makes it so much more enjoyable, I would say.
Oh, I can only imagine. So, so,
Yeah.
so what was your recruiting process like? You're a state champ in New Jersey. New Jersey, I would say there's not too many state. Pennsylvania's a good state for wrestling, right?
hmm
Pennsylvania. How about in Texas, Iowa, right? Like
Yep, yep,
being a state champ in New Jersey, man, I don't think people really realize how many kids are in your weight class to end
yep.
up being the number one guy.
Yeah, Pennsylvania, a lot of other states have multiple state champs. In New Jersey, we only have one. So
Yeah.
I think they're California, New Jersey, and I think Illinois. They all have one state champ throughout the whole state.
Okay.
Pennsylvania has, I think, two or three.
Yep.
So especially in that state alone, we have all those guys that are in your weight class in New Jersey, and there's only one state champ. So you get to call
Yeah.
yourself, the 182-pound
Yeah.
state champ. It's a really big deal, and it's something that when you're in middle school growing up, I used to look at the high schoolers and be like I want to be like them.
Yeah.
I would have a picture on my wall, in my room. It was the Boardwalk Hall. That's where we wrestled the state tournament, and it was the finals mat. And every morning I woke up, that's the first thing I saw, and I saw my goal. So I did the same thing in college too, So it's something that if you're from New Jersey and you wrestle in New Jersey, it's something that means a lot.
Hey, it's
Yeah,
huge.
it's huge. Yeah.
What's it like being up on that podium, getting that medal as a state champ?
It's definitely was a surreal moment for me. I dreamed about it so many times, growing up in middle school and high school, and then finally being there, and I kind of dreamed about what my celebration would have been too. I
Yeah.
always manifest it. I'm a big manifest person. If I see it,
Cool.
I believe it, and I think it'll happen. So, just being able to stand around and have the the bracket in front of you, it's definitely a really cool, surreal moment for sure.
And can you just tell the listeners how many hours of work went into that? Or maybe years of work.
It's definitely years of work. It's definitely a lot of sacrifice. I missed a lot of like going out with my friends here, going out here with them. Like I would work out 3 times a day, even in high school. I would work out before school. I'd go to my high school practice, and then I would go to my club practice after that.
Yeah.
Then go to bed and do it all over again.
Did you ever see that movie Vision Quest?
Yep, so many times, too many times.
I see that on all the social media stuff. It's all popping up again,
Yeah,
with Loudon. His name was Loudon, I think, right?
Loud and Swain. Yeah, yeah.
That was a great movie. You
Yep,
know,
great movie.
that was back in my day in the 80s when those movies were coming out. That was cool. So let me ask you this, John. The athletics, how do you think that experience in your life has really contributed to your personal growth, like of who you are now?
Yeah, with honestly, without wrestling, I wouldn't be who I am today. I mean, it definitely structured my life into who I am. I'll even say like off the mat. I was able to like I was part of Embrace Kids Foundation, and even in high school, even in high school, I worked with kids who had disabilities and stuff like that, where I would volunteer my time using my own platform and stuff like that from wrestling to help them, and I think it made me a better person that way as well.
Right.
But being able to give back and help coach and do clinics, all that stuff together really made me to who I am. And a couple other things like I'm a very hardworking person. I'm very persistent, and those things are all from wrestling. If it wasn't for working hard every day, being persistent on my goals, and being very organized too. As a student athlete, you have to be very organized between schoolwork, getting our 3 workouts in, staying disciplined on cutting weight. Like it is a full life thing that not a lot of people can say they've done, but a lot of us, most of us can say we can, the ones that have been successful at it. So, yeah.
It's wrestling is just that's a unique sport, man.
Yeah. But you also have to remember wrestling is just a sport. It's not your whole life sometimes, too. So you need
Well,
to find a
man, I am
balance.
so glad you said that.
Yeah.
So can you talk about, because wrestling for you collegiately is over,
Correct.
right?
Yep.
Is there another level for you? I know they got that new professional stuff out there and what have you.
Yeah. It's still, I mean, that's kind of still in the works. But like for us, wrestling sometimes there is after college, there's nothing after that. Like, yes, there's Olympics, but there's one guy that make it every year.
Yeah,
Yes, there's the world team, one guy that makes it every year. There's no NFL, there's no NBA.
right.
So I would say for us, after you're done competing in college, it's go coach, or that's really it.
Yeah.
Or what's next for me? I got a really great job with a really great company that I'm excited to see what my new career is. I read a quote the other day. I forgot who it's by, but it said, "Athletes live 2 lives. Normal people live one. Once the athlete's done competing, he starts his second life."
Where'd you read that?
I don't know where I read it. It
Or
was
did
on
you
my
hear that from
phone.
me? Because
You said it to
well,
me.
it was me,
You
right?
said it to me. Was it you?
Well, here's I coined this phrase. Now, if you read it somewhere, then
I
somebody
read it
stole it from
somewhere. I read it somewhere.
you.
But
Okay.
did you tell me that too?
I didn't write it. I didn't read it. Here's what I came up with.
Okay.
My personal opinion is athletes die twice.
Okay. Okay. Yes,
Okay.
you told me that. Yes.
Yeah. So when athletes who have a very good career
Mm-hmm.
and go to your level or a
Mm-hmm.
professional level, somewhere along the line, John, somebody tells you you're over. You
Correct.
don't
Yeah.
tell yourself that. You're like, I'm never going to quit. Somebody says you're done,
Mm-hmm.
and it's never your choice, and you die. Your
Mm-hmm.
identity dies with that. that decision,
Yes.
but you have to live with it.
Correct.
And
Yes.
some guys have a really hard time living with that identity being ripped away.
Mm-hmm.
And then you spend your entire life doing whatever, thinking
Yep.
about it, dreaming about it, wishing about it. And then you die in real life. But when you die
Mm-hmm.
in real life, you don't care because it's over, you
Mm-hmm.
know? So
Yeah.
it's
But you
hard.
did tell me this. You did tell me I
Yeah.
read it after we spoke somewhere on my
Okay.
phone. So that's kind
Now
of
I'm sure I
unique.
heard it somewhere and but I'm gonna say that I invented it, you know.
Yeah, you invented it. I don't know where I
Yeah.
read it though. I need to find it. I'm gonna
Okay.
find
All
it.
right. So how did you feel, John, when that last whistle blew and it was over?
Um, for me, it was a little different because I ended up medically retiring, after my one match because I have really bad shoulders. I won't get too into detail, but I got really bad shoulders. I had a lot of concussions and I got a really bad hip. So I decided that that was it for me, and I had no regrets, and I was ready to move on, with my life and everything. And I was at the end of the season anyway. It was our last match, and I was good with it. I wasn't like really upset. I mean, yeah, I was
Hmm?
upset, but I wasn't really upset. I was excited to start my new life. I was excited to see what was next, and I had no regrets. I had a long career of accolades, like you said
Yeah.
earlier, um, but for me, it was ultimately my decision. And, I talked to my family and my coaches, everyone close to me, and that's kind of what I did. So it was definitely not a fun experience for that to be the last whistle, but that's what life is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just so much work and then it comes to the point where okay, now it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The competition is over, but I'll never lose all the hardworking accolades that I've
Oh
had
no.
before. So those always stay with me.
Yeah.
And I will never lose the things that wrestling taught me throughout my training, or, what the coaches always told me while I was training. I would always have those with me, and I can use those in what my career is going to be like, whenever I need them. So those are the things that I'll always say with me that I'm not actually competing in every day.
Can you list a couple of things that wrestling taught you that you think you'll carry with you?
Definitely how to be organized.
Okay.
Definitely how to be persistent. I'm a very persistent person if you ask, anyone around me. Um, Definitely hardworking. I mean, I named those three already, but what else? Let's see. I can probably go on and on, but I'm trying to think of the real good ones. Um, Definitely how to be unique because wrestling is a
Okay.
very unique sport. And I'm already a unique person, I will say, but it definitely taught me how to be even more unique and how to be different.
So what
Because
makes you unique?
what makes me unique?
Yeah.
Well, the one thing I was born with one eye. I don't know if you saw
Oh,
that on
okay. No,
the
no, I didn't
yeah.
notice.
So I was. Well, I mean, I'll get into that a little bit.
Okay.
So when I was younger, I was born with Coates disease, and it's like
What it's called Cokes?
Coates, Coats, Coates.
Okay.
So it is a like an eye disease where the eye doesn't fully develop and doesn't function. So when I was 3, 4 years old, they had to remove it. So my eye I've worn ever since is prosthetic, and I only could see out of one eye.
Now,
Um,
does your vision like does it already adjust for that so you can almost like see normally, or it's almost like, hey, I
no,
can't see anything over here?
I have no vision. I have no vision. I'm
Okay.
completely blind in my left eye, so everything from here over I don't see. And I drive, I wrestle, I do everything else like a normal person would, but I would say that definitely makes me a little bit
Oh
unique.
my God, yeah, you
Um,
kidding me?
but that's definitely the first uniqueness I'll say.
But
That
think
word
about it. Like I got to interrupt you for a second. This
Go
is
ahead.
crazy. So you have one eye, and you were born that way.
Yep, I got it removed when I was 3, going on 4 years old, and
Okay.
yeah, I wrestled all through. I played Pop Warner football, I played t-ball, and then I went into judo, jiu-jitsu, wrestled
That's
all through high school
incredible.
and college. I drive a car like anybody. I ride a bike, all that
That
kind of stuff.
that wow. So state champion, college All-American, and you got one eye.
Yep,
And
yep.
there's guys that have perfect vision that can't even come remotely close to doing anything you've done.
Yeah, I would definitely say for wrestling, jiu-jitsu, and all these sports that I gravitated towards more, but were because they're more hands-on sports.
Yeah.
I was never really good with. That's why I'm surprised I'm okay at golf. But I'm not really good with basketball. Like anything where it's like shooting a ball, catching a
Yeah.
ball, because it's depth perception. I have no depth perception.
Okay.
So when it comes to like the hands-on sports, a lot of time I'll close my eyes and just feel things out. That's kind of
Yeah.
how I kind of made wrestling unique to myself, which makes everything unique. That's why I love the
Yeah.
word.
That's so cool. That
Yep.
that is, but well, that is so true, man. You are unique.
Thank you.
What else comes with unique is special.
Yeah, 100%.
Because unique sometimes is just different. That's a
Yeah.
little different.
hmm
But for you, to what you've accomplished, that's not just unique and different. It's special.
Yeah, it's how you take what you have and how to make it into something greater and better. I could
Yeah.
have, my parents could never have put me in wrestling or any of those sports, and I wouldn't have the platform that I have today to be able to have a podcast, to be
Yeah.
able to, inspire younger kids, and all those great things I've done
Yeah.
throughout my career so far, and gonna do more later. I wouldn't have this platform, if I wasn't. I don't want to call myself special, but in a special form of way.
That's awesome. That's crazy. I can spend all night talking about that, but let's bounce around a little bit,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
go
we'll
ahead.
and we'll
Let's
and we'll come back to that,
Yeah, 100%.
And let's just talk about the word balance, right? I always say no one's ever in balance. You're always out of balance one way or the other. Like, but
hmm
if you're a college wrestler at the Big Ten national level like that, how did you manage? Forget the word balance. How did you
hmm
manage academics? Because you phenomenal academic career, phenomenal athletic career, managing the eating, the social life. How do you do all that with all that pressure that you're under?
Yeah. I'm gonna go back to the word organizational, being very organized. I'm a big planner. I plan everything ahead of
Okay.
time. So I knew what my week looked like the week prior. So I knew my days were very structured in what I was doing hour by hour. Um, and I think for me, I think I could have done better was have more of a balance because I was so locked in on what my training day looked like, what my classes looked like, what, my eating looked like. I really missed out on that social part of balance. Yes, I hung out with the guys in the team, here and there, but I was very to myself. I never really had other hobbies, I guess you'd say,
You have
than
no
other.
time.
I had no time, but I feel like you need that in order to stay a little bit sane sometimes, because in our sport, I'm going to use that word again, unique. It's very unique. And
Yeah.
in order to do these things, you need to live the life like that. But you need to sprinkle in a little bit of that extra
Well,
balance.
Tell Goody to lighten up.
It's not on the coaches. It's definitely on the athlete
Yeah.
because and that's something you have to learn in after the years of doing it. I learned that, later in my career, but
Yeah.
that's something that, early in my career, maybe I could have, done a little bit differently, but
Okay.
you never know.
Yeah.
But finding a little more of a balance, I think is something I could have done better. But from an academic, athletic and, overall lifestyle, I think that's something you have to figure out on your own
Yeah.
and see what other people do and take it and make it your
Yep.
own.
Okay. So
Yeah.
so tell me, how did you come to the decision that Rutgers was the right place for you?
Yeah, so for me, I always wanted to stay home. I grew up in Colonia, New Jersey, so it's about 15-20 minutes from Rutgers. And I always went to matches at the Rack, when it used to be called the Rack, now it's Jersey Mike's Arena.
Yeah.
When I was little, and I was like, I want to wrestle there one day. I want to wrestle there one day. And I got recruited by Coach Donnie Pritzloff, who's now at Columbia, and
Yep.
Coach John Leonardis. They're the two that really recruited me to start. And I was like, well, this is a no-brainer for me. They gave me an offer I couldn't say no to as well, but I also wanted to go there because I wanted to stay home, and the coaching staff was so great. Those are two big reasons why I wanted to go there.
Wow. So I got to put you on the spot. Looks like you got the sun hitting the mirror back there. You see that hitting that
Yeah.
on the screen?
I'll shut the blind a little
No,
bit.
that's all right. It'll
It's
it'll
all
it'll
right.
probably go away, right?
Yeah,
But
in a minute.
it's
I'll
yeah,
put my head there.
yeah, right.
It's okay.
So
I'll do
I
that.
always put guys on the spot for their coaches. Tell
hmm
me, tell me what it was like, because Goody's got a phenomenal reputation, man.
hmm
I'm not even a wrestling guy, and I hear nothing but great things about him. Can you tell me what it's like to wrestle underneath that guy?
Yeah, he definitely brings the energy for sure every day in practice. Um, he every single day. It could be a Monday, it could be a Friday. It's the same energy and enthusiasm he would bring every single day, and it's definitely. I mean, I'm going to talk about the whole coaching staff
Yeah,
because it's not just Goody. Because
yeah,
there's Pollard, there's Middich. I mean, there was Coach Pritzloff, Coach Leonardis. They're all a team together,
yeah,
and yes, Goody is the head coach, but everyone around him really brings them all together, and it
yeah,
brings a uniqueness to our team for sure.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but Goody definitely brings the energy every day. I will say
yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And the facility, I've been in that building.
Hmm.
That thing's incredible.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
I was lucky enough that my freshman year was the first year it was open, so
really.
I
Okay.
got really lucky. Yeah.
How does that compare to the other schools you wrestle against? Is that like the elite of the facilities, or everybody else just as good?
Oh yeah, I mean, you could look at Penn State's facilities, Minnesota's facilities. Um, they have brand new ones, but then you go to like some other like not D1 schools or Big Ten schools, and their facilities are a little bit different. So
Yeah,
we're very very it's very special for us to have a facility like that because
yeah,
it's brand new and we have everything there for us, and they make it very
yeah,
convenient. Um, so it's special for sure.
yeah. It's beautiful in there.
Oh yeah,
You know,
100%.
I was in there last year. I forget what time it was. It was late. I was at some athletic thing going on over there, and I went up
Hmm.
to the wrestling area. Doors was open,
Hmm.
and there was two guys in the wrestling room. The music was ranking like so loud, and
Yep,
these
yep.
guys were riding their bikes. They were all taped up, dressed up, and just sweating to death.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Sure, it
I'm
wasn't
like,
me. Was that me?
I don't know. It might have been,
Might have been. I
but
don't know.
they were. You're a big guy though. These are little guys.
Yeah,
These
I
are
wrestled 97. It must, yeah,
Yeah,
probably.
these were the little. Yeah, there's no way these guys weighed that much. Um, but I can hear the bass pumping from going up the stairs.
Yeah.
I'm like, where's that music coming from?
Hmm.
And I was just following the music, and then I'm like, holy crap, it was loud as hell.
Yeah,
You know?
it's definitely a great room for sure that we have.
Yeah,
It's having that enough space and having the little weight room there and all the bikes
yeah,
all in our, being accessible.
yeah.
It's
And you guys can go in there 24 hours a day, right?
Yeah, we have a little key card, scan in, you
Yeah,
can go work out whenever you want. That's why I'd go in at 6 a.m. and I
yeah,
can also go in if I want at 8 o'clock at night.
yeah. That's cool.
Yep.
So this is hard. This is a question that everybody has a hard time answering, but can you pick your most memorable moment at Rutgers?
My most memorable moment will definitely be my quarterfinal match when I wrestled Lou Duprez from Binghamton when I found out that I was going to All American. That was the All American round at the NCAA's in St. Louis. I got that last takedown. I got my hand raised. I ran over and hugged Coach Donnie Fritzloff and had a little big flex. I mean, if you go in the wrestling room, my picture's up there as at the All
Okay.
American wall. And that moment will definitely stay in my brain and replay all the
You
time.
can live up there you live on that wall forever.
Yeah, it's something no one can ever take away from you. Yep.
That's so cool. Hey, you know the Zanetti brothers, right? I think I asked you that,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Yeah.
And those guys are great.
Yeah. I
You know.
worked. I worked with Wrestling Mindset a bit.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
They're
I
actually they live in Clark. Actually, they live
Yep.
not
Well,
too far.
that's Jeff lives in Clark,
Yes.
and Gene lives up around here, a little bit north of here. I
Hmm.
forget what town, but just he's up around Warren.
Yeah, they're
But
great guys.
Gene's been on the show. He was one of my first guests, and man, what a great job he did.
Oh
You
yeah,
know.
he's great. He's
Well,
awesome.
He's a
They're all
he's a
great. All those
talker.
guys.
He's a
Oh yeah.
talker.
Hmm.
He can
Yep. Yep.
talk. You know. So let me ask you, yeah, how do you think wrestling? I know it's early yet. You're not even really out of school yet, barely. You know what I mean? You're fresh
Hmm.
out. You're like, the world's changing. How do you think wrestling is going to impact your future?
Um, like I said a little bit earlier, the aspects that wrestling taught me, from being very organized and hardworking and persistent, those things will never leave me. So I think
Yeah.
I'll take those into my everyday work life or my, everyday family life, however it looks like whenever I get there. Those things will always stay with me, and I'll never lose those attributes. And I may not, if I compete in jujitsu or something like that again, I'll always be able to have those wrestling, fast twitch muscles that I always had when I competed, than
Yeah.
if I do that. But from a mental standpoint, yeah, I'll never lose those attributes for sure. They taught me so much.
It's like the foundation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 100%. It's like how you build a house. My dad's a
Yeah.
mason. I grew up, doing
Okay.
masonry work with him, and that's how you build every house. You got to build the foundation first. So that's how I got here. I built the
Did he
foundation.
do any, did, did he do any work with the Van Brills building pools?
No, I don't think so. My dad works a lot up here in North Jersey. Van Brills are mostly South Jersey, I think. They're from
Yeah, they got one hell.
Mulligan
They got
Hill.
a gigantic pool business, man.
Yeah,
You know,
yep, yep.
those are some cool guys too.
Hmm.
So let me ask you for advice. Advice to the young guys coming out of high school that are
Hmm.
state champs. What advice can you give them about picking the right school, dealing with the recruiting process the right way to make sure they make the right choice?
I'll definitely say make sure you like who you're around and like where you're gonna be, because if you yes, it can have all the right wrestling, things that you need, facilities and um, everything else that comes with that. But make sure you like where you're living and like who you're going to be around, because if you don't, you're not going to enjoy your time. And wrestling only will give you so much. You need
Right.
to be able to enjoy where you're going to be. So
Yep.
for me, it was being close to home and being able to, go home for Sunday dinner all the
Right.
time. So like things like that, if you find something that's close to your heart like that, make
Right.
sure those things are taken care of before you
Now, were
pick.
you able to go home a lot?
I went home every Sunday.
Did you?
Yeah, I even went
Yeah.
home and bring my laundry home sometimes with my mom during the week. So
As I say, your mother probably loved that, right?
yeah, my mom's a full Italian, so I'm a Italian kid. I can tell you that for sure.
Now, did your parents come to all your matches?
Yeah, my family came to all my matches, my club teammates, my club coaches, they came to all the matches, and that was a big thing for me, being
Yeah.
able to have them, there, and all the New Jersey crowd. New Jersey's a big wrestling state, like we were
Oh
saying
my God,
before.
yeah.
Being able to have all those people and all those fans come and see all my matches, that's
Yeah.
something I wanted. If I was, I hate to say, in the middle of the Midwest somewhere, I couldn't get that. So
No.
that was part of my decision. So if you're a Jersey guy and you want to stay home and have everyone come watch you,
Yeah.
then don't
Especially
blame
in
me.
wrestling. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like you said, New Jersey's a big wrestling state,
yeah,
and if you're going to
hmm,
wrestle at a big time school, it's great that we have a school that's it's big time.
yeah, 100%.
It'd be different if we were up in Maine. That's where I went to school, right?
Hmm.
And I don't think I know they had a wrestling team, but I don't even remember if they even how good they were. But even now, who knows? And
Yeah,
like, who's watching them? I don't know,
they're gonna
right?
have, like, a couple people in the stands. They won't have as many.
Yeah.
We sell out with thousands of people every Friday night or any Saturday night. Any night we wrestle, there's 1,000 people.
I'll tell you, I think I told you I went to the Penn State match against you guys this year and last year. The crowd is incredible, you
Yeah,
know?
every year our we'll get more and more people every single year at those matches,
Yeah,
and it's definitely because of the arena we have too. We're very
yeah,
fortunate to have that type of arena
yeah,
where we can facilitate all those people, and the
yeah,
fans, rain, snow, whatever, they're
yeah.
there. So
Now, is Jersey Mike's one of the bigger places that you guys wrestle at, or like the other schools have bigger facility like arenas, or no?
um. Ohio State has a really cool arena. I don't know the
Do
name.
they?
Covelli Center, I think that's what they call it. Penn
Okay.
State's is a big arena. Minnesota is a pretty good size, but Rutgers is up there when it comes to capacity. We're
Yeah,
always in the top five
yeah.
attendance rating. So
Now,
yeah,
how many people fit in that thing when it's packed?
I don't know. You might have to look up an exact number, but I gotta
Like
say maybe six.
15,000?
I think like 6 to 8,000. I think it's
Oh,
in there.
that's it?
I think so. I could be wrong. Again, that's a number you probably have to look up, but I think it's
It feels like 15,000 when
yeah,
you're in
because
there.
it's such a dome kind of
Yeah,
like with the seats going in. So
yeah,
I don't know. That's a number you gotta look up. I
yeah.
don't
Okay.
want to go quote me on
All
that.
right. So how about setbacks? I know you've had injuries, but
Yep.
you've fought through them. Any
Hmm.
other setbacks, or how did the injuries really set you back? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, in wrestling, you're gonna get there's injuries are inevitable. I mean, this my last year alone, I was dealing with something every single day. It was hard enough to stay on the mat and get to practice sometimes because you just got to recover, recover, recover. But then it kind of sets you back from your weight cut, or it sets you back from trying to get better at wrestling,
Yeah.
So it's definitely hard, like anything else, but
Yeah.
especially in our sport, because if you can't cut weight properly because you can't work out, it
Yeah.
makes your weight cut harder, and then it makes you, makes you more tired when you go out there to wrestle in a match. You're not as prepared. So I think it's being able to have the right support around you, and stay good mentally. That's another big thing, because when you're hurt physically, that might hurt you mentally too,
Yeah.
because you don't think you're ready and you start self-doubts and all that. But being able to have a good support system behind you, and take it day by day. That's a big piece of advice. When we were talking about that, but we asked that last
Yeah.
question, taking everything one day at a time, one moment at a time. That's a big thing that I really set into the last 2 years alone, in my life in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So mental. I mean, wrestling's got a big mental. Every sport's mental, but wrestling is, there's so many aspects of it.
Yeah.
And you mentioned before, which is cool. We talked about your vision. You have things up on the wall. You look at it every
Yep.
morning, wake up, and you're
hmm
staring at stuff. You're manifesting. Can you talk about how you stay sharp mentally? Because that's not easy.
No, yeah, I mean, I definitely had slip ups of my own. I mean, I feel like everyone does, but I could speak for myself that you got to be able to talk to people. If you think you can do it all yourself, you can't. I mean, I always thought I could, but after a while, when you're wrestling at this highest level, you need to be able to open up and talk to people. You know,
Can I ask, like, what do you talk about? Can I ask you that?
well, we had sports
Okay.
psychologists. So I talked a lot there, with them, and they teach you little things on how to, be mindful of different things. For me, I always like to breathe a little bit, like in between periods. I'll do in for three my nose, out for three
Yep.
my mouth.
Don't they call that
Um,
box breathing?
I think so. I think you're right. Yeah, box
Yeah.
breathing. But like little things like that, or like before I even stepped on the mat, like I would do like a thing with my hands like this, and breathe, and kind of just figure out how to find that right state of mind, and relax myself before taking the mat, or after going out of bounds, something like that.
Right.
So being able to take it to a whole new level, just from a mental standpoint, can definitely change your game, and definitely talk to people. Talk to people, because it can definitely bring you to another level.
Yeah. Were you one of the kind of guys, John, that got super nervous before a match, or were you always calm, cool, and you went into it no problem, or was your stomach turning, butterflies, like, ah,
I was always nervous for every match. Yeah, I could be wrestling the number one guy in the country, or the last guy in the country, and I was nervous for every single match. And then as soon as I shook hands, the nerves were all gone. I knew I was good. I was in my element, and I just was flowing. Once I get in that flow state, then you're good, kind of thing for me.
yep,
But before every match, leading up to it, I was always nervous. But it comes with every. If you're not nervous, you don't care.
yeah, you're so, that is so true, you know. So how, the competition you're in, and again, I keep saying this because I want everyone to understand that, and I think the people who live around here might not understand if they're non-wrestling fans.
Yeah.
They don't understand the level of competition that Rutgers wrestling is at, right?
Yeah.
They don't, like, you guys are the elite of the elite in that conference in the country.
Yeah.
So from a competition standpoint, has there ever been a time where competition is really brought out the best in you? Like, this is so cool. And also the other side, hey, this has really brought out the worst in me, and I
Yeah.
just became a mess.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's endless amount of matches where they're 1 point matches where you got to put your foot in the line, and go out for a takedown, or you get this a little opportunity and you might miss it, but then sometimes you might get it, and it could be really good or it could be really bad. So it brings you the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows for sure. Um, and the sport teaches you how to take that success and really thrive with it, but then it also will beat you to the ground, and stomp on you 4 or 5, 6 times, and then see how you get up. So it's definitely, like, I'm gonna use that word again, unique sport,
Yeah,
that it'll bring it here, but also bring it really low. So it teaches you endless amount of qualities on how to not just get up in wrestling, but to get up in life.
yeah,
So yeah, that's what I'll say
that's
to that
cool.
for sure. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like, John, like you got everything mapped out. And you said before, if you be organized, like I'm writing stuff down as you're talking, I'm writing stuff
Yeah,
down, right?
yeah, yeah.
Organized, disciplined, committed, you know, it sounds like you got everything mapped out and going in the right direction. So what advice can you give to the guys that are okay? Well, they're not you yet because you're done,
Hmm.
but they're going to be you soon about taking that next journey. Wrestling is over now. Like how
Yes.
can they map that step out?
See that I'm still trying to figure out because I'm in the middle of it right now. I was lucky enough I landed a really good job with the company I interned for. So that's one thing I'll say is don't ever burn bridges. Always keep relationships. You and I talked and now we're on your podcast. There's
Yeah.
no burn of a bridge. There's no,
No.
relationship that's, not gonna exist because I I am a firm believer in if you give respect, you'll get respect as well. And that goes with anything. So who knows? My job might not pan out, and then I need a couple other opportunities, and they
You
might
come work with
appear.
me.
Yeah, I can come work with you. There's different opportunities that will always appear if you give respect because you'll in return you should get it back.
Right.
Um, but for me, taking these qualities that you learned as an athlete, not just wrestling, but any sport that um, you know athletics teach you, taking them to how you live your everyday life will definitely help you become a better person and help you strive into whatever field you get into. So
Yeah.
that's my advice, kind of what I'm doing right now.
Well,
So
it's great advice. And you said a couple of times your internship, right?
yeah.
I can't tell you how many athletes I've spoken to, baseball players, and from the world you're coming from,
Yep.
baseball players, football players, other wrestlers. If I said their name, you'll know them, right? Where we talked about internships, and I've created this internship here in my world where I completely let them tell me the hours they want to work.
Hmm.
And because I know what college athletes need, they need flexibility.
Yeah,
And
yeah. That-
and they're like, I don't have the time. If you had the time, they would have the time, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So can you talk about that? Because you just said you got a great job because you
Hmm.
found the time to invest in an internship while all the other things were going on. How did you
Yeah.
manage that?
So for me, I did it during my redshirt year. So
Okay.
during my redshirt season, I wasn't competing as much, and my classes for me were all online that semester as well. So I was able to go to my internship 3 times a week. I made a
Okay.
schedule with my boss, and I was there for the time. I'd get there at 7 a.m. because their hours from 7 to 4. So I would get there early or get there after lunch after practice or something. I made it work, and my boss was really flexible with me, and I was able to do a whole internship there and have that good relationship and build a relationship with the people I'm going to work with now in the company. Um, that it turned out to be a great success. So.
Yeah. So why don't you tell everybody what are you doing now work wise? What kind of work you doing?
So it's the company's name is Sandblast Solutions. I'm working as a business development to start, and then I'll be working with inside sales as well, just kind of to learn the industry more. Sandblasting, I didn't know what it was when I started at the internship, but I
Yeah.
learned a lot about it. And we sell the material, we sell the equipment, we repair the equipment. It's a really unique niche industry for sure. So.
Having
Yeah.
fun so far?
I haven't officially started yet, but
Oh, okay. Well, the
yeah,
internship was fun, I
the
guess, right?
internship was fun. Yeah, yeah. I still talk to the boss all the time, and all, a couple other people that work there. They're excited to have me. I'm excited to start. So,
Yeah.
looking forward to it.
So what kind of challenges do you think you're going to face transitioning out of college and out of sports and into the real world? Anything you think you're gonna face?
Definitely gonna face a lot of challenges for sure. I've never actually had a real job before because my job was to wrestle and
Wrestle.
compete and do all
Yeah.
that and do school. So all those things were my jobs. Now I actually have a real one. So I think from a challenges perspective, definitely things that I did in college, organizational wise and having goals, those things I feel like I'll be able to do just differently now. I'm not working on it, getting my workouts in. I have to get these tasks done or talk to these people in these meetings. So it's going to be the same thing, just a little bit different, indirectly, I guess you'd say.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I'll definitely have challenges, through my life. I've always have and I always will. Um, but it's kind of how you, just like I said before, it's how high wrestling will take you sometimes, but also take you really low. So
Yeah.
it's the same thing in life. Life can take you really high, but then it can take you really low. So it's just about how you respond.
So what's on your vision board now? What are you manifesting now?
What am I manifesting now? For me, let's think. I don't have anything on my wall at the moment. It's empty at the moment because I haven't found that ultimate goal like it was to be a state champ or an All American national champ in college. I think for me now is to be
I already know what it's going to be on that vision board.
let me hear what you're gonna say first. I'm
The
interested.
number one podcast in the country.
Honestly, yes, I was gonna say that. My podcast, I really am enjoying doing the podcast. So if anyone listening out there, the Destination Talk, we're on YouTube. My co-host is Harry. We have a couple really big guests coming up, and I'm excited to see how it expands and see how many stories I can get,
Yeah.
kind of like you're doing here.
Yeah. Who are the list off the guests so people can hear so they can jump in and listen?
Tomorrow we have Eric LeGrand. That's probably one of our biggest guests. Um, we're looking to have hopefully Monday maybe I can get Goody on or Coach Donnie
How could you
Pritzloff.
got to
Those would
get
be
him?
good
You'll
ones.
get him on there. How could he
I
say
gotta
no to
get him,
you?
yeah.
Right?
I've had Yaroslav Slavakuski on. He was my teammate. He was a
Yep.
heavyweight at Rutgers. We had Jackson Turley on. We had a soccer player from Michigan State on. Her name was Kelly. We had a lot of different athletes, a lot of different coaches, college, high school, everything. So I'm excited to see where that takes us.
That's so cool. Well, listen, you're not going to be number one. You'll be number two because mine's going to be number one.
We'll go back and forth. We're
Yeah.
gonna have you on my podcast next.
Well, let's do it. Let's do it. So let me, this is a couple more questions.
Yeah.
How did you prevent yourself with all the stress that you were under? How did you keep from burning out over all those years with the injuries, the wrestling, the weight loss, the academics? How do you not burn out?
Um, I think, finding that balance, like kind of what we talked about earlier, having other things like family time and time with your friends and finding other hobbies are things that can help, athletes not, so-called burnout. And in the summers, take time off. Like you don't need to wrestle every single day in the summer. You don't have to do it every single day. Yes, in the season it's different, but go on vacation, do things like your life doesn't depend on the sport. It's a sport.
Right.
It's not, not what I do it's not what's, I'm gonna be doing every single day for the rest of my life. No, it's a sport that I enjoy to do because it's fun. And,
Yeah.
I built my life around it, yes, but you have to see it in different perspectives. Having the right perspective on how you do things and being intentional with it is something that can help you not burn out for sure. So find golf, maybe. Golf's a good one. I like that.
But golf's frustrating, man.
Golf is frustrating, but it's different. It is very different.
Well, it's what does people say? The worst day on the golf course is better than your best day at work?
Yeah,
Something
yeah.
like
A
that?
lot of my teammates played video games. I was never a big video game player.
Yeah.
But like people did that. Um, Something that's not, you know, too taxing on your body that you can do as a hobby
Yeah.
that takes your mind off of wrestling.
Yeah.
Right,
So where do you see your coaching career going?
I'm definitely going to be coaching at my club, Yale Street Wrestling Club. We're out of Plainfield in New Jersey.
Hmm.
With Coach Donnie DeFilippis. He's the head coach there. And all those guys, Shane Mallory, Dan Hill, Coach Pete. I'll be with them. I'll definitely be helping out at my old high school, Colonia High School. If they ever need me there,
Hmm.
I'm open to that. But I'm going to start my new job and help out at Yale Street, and it's kind of what my life's going to consist of. And anytime there's a clinic or something like that people ask me to come do, 100%. I love to
Yeah.
teach. I really like coaching. I like to give back too. The people who help me, I'm open to helping them too. So
Cool. Now, I'm sure you're still a super follower of New Jersey wrestling across the state.
Yeah, yeah.
Who do you see out there that's up and coming, just like superstar? Anybody coming up through the ranks?
Like in high school, you're saying?
Yeah, through the high school world.
Um, well, a lot of the Yale Street guys, I can tell you that right now because I'm around them all the time. A
Okay.
lot of the Yale Street guys are like today. I worked out with Matt Gorbatuk. He's actually middle school. He's seventh grade or eighth grade. I think he's seventh grade, but he's gonna be real good once he gets to high school. He's about 180 pounds. He'll be a bigger kid, and once he gets into high school. But once he
Yeah.
fills out, he'll be really good. So remember that name for sure. But
Okay.
we have a lot of kids at Yale Street that are, going to be place winners, hopefully state
Yep.
champs soon, and it's a really good club.
Now, can anybody join that, or is that like you have to have a certain type of record or a certain number of wins to be a part of
No,
that
and
group?
anyone can join Yale Street. We have probably over 200 members, and we have classes
Really?
almost every night. Yeah, yeah, it's grown a lot. When I first started with my club coach Donnie DeFilippis, we started in his garage in Summit, and then we've gone to two different facilities, and we had to get because they've grown bigger and bigger, and now he's got over a bunch of members, and we're having state placers almost every year. Guys going to Fargo for freestyle and making really really big accolades. So it's definitely a club that definitely makes wrestling bigger in New Jersey for sure.
Right. Right.
Yep.
Well, it's amazing everything you're accomplishing, and you know, I want to touch on one more thing.
Yep.
Is you know, is it called a condition? The eye? I don't know even what to say. Is it a
Yeah.
condition?
Condition. Yeah.
Right? It's what advice can you give to the young men or women that are growing up with something similar? That, some kids, I'm gonna guess, John, that you just had this tremendous support world around you.
Yes, I had a great support. Everybody around me, my
Yeah.
family specifically, has
Yeah.
been, the best support I've ever had, and that's the reason
That's
why who I am today.
so. What can you tell the young men or women who may be dealing with that, how to handle it, how to cope if they don't have that type of support?
I'll definitely say never say no. Like always go do it, Always go if you want to go do something, go do it. Like I wanted to I've been riding a mountain bike and bikes my whole life. I always wanted a Harley. I'm going to go get one, I want to do that. I want this. So if I want something, I'm going to go get it. It doesn't matter if I have one eye, one arm, one leg, whatever. I'm going to find a way to get to my goal. I'm going to find a way to get what I want, because that goes right back to the persistence word we were talking about. Um, and being able to stay persistent to my goal, like the goal I had with my picture on the wall, to get to the state finals or become a state champ, having those goals listed out and saying I'm going to do it and manifesting it. That's all it right there.
That's so cool. That's
Yeah.
so cool. Well, John, it's been awesome having you on this show, man. I could talk to you for 2 more hours, but
I'm enjoying this too.
yeah, it's fun. Is there
Yeah.
anything I haven't asked you that you think we should hit on and touch on before we wrap it up?
I think we touched on a lot of it. I think we touched on a lot of really key points on how being a student athlete can help transition you into being a really good person and really transitioning you into life after sports.
Yeah.
Um, we talked about my career a bit. I think I have a really unique story. Back to that word unique.
Yeah.
You said special, but
Special.
yeah, it's
It's uniquely special.
uniquely special. There you go. But I think it was a great talk we had. I appreciate you
Yeah.
having me on.
Well, I'm glad you're on, and I can't wait for this to go live and for everybody to hear it, because without guys like you, John, there are kids that are out there, and I don't mean like little kids, even though it could be little kids, but I mean athletes that aren't willing to take risks, aren't willing to take that next step. And I love what you said. Just never say no, go get it.
Yeah.
You know, and they
Hmm.
need to hear it from guys like you in order to believe, because you said in the very beginning, if you see it, you believe it.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
for a guy who has a trouble with vision,
Hmm.
it's like an amazing, statement.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean?
definitely. And I would also say, I talked about talking to other people.
Yeah,
Talk to somebody. If you can never do everything by yourself.
yeah,
You may think you can. Like I thought I could. I thought I was invincible. I could do anything. But eventually you're gonna have to talk to somebody. You're gonna need
Yeah.
help,
Yeah.
and everyone does. It's not something to be ashamed of. So, go talk to somebody, and how can they help you get to those goals? That's how you can put it all together into one.
That's an awesome way to wrap it up. So thanks for being on, John, and I'm looking forward to seeing all your successes in your career and having while you're having fun doing it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.